Welcome to the November 5th regular the Louis Riel School Division Board of Trustees. I call this meeting to order. Welcome everyone. We have everyone present. Trustee Palmquist has stepped out but will return. We have no other regrets. I will turn over now to our land acknowledgement to Trustee Walker.
The Louis Riel School Division brings together a community of schools on the traditional land of the Anishinaabe, Nanahuac, and Dakota. Our division is located on the national homeland of the Red River Métis. We recognize that Manitoba is also the traditional land of the Anishinaabe and Dene. We respect the treaties made on this land and acknowledge the harms and mistakes of the past and present. We dedicate ourselves to authentic alliances with Indigenous communities in a spirit of reconciliation and cooperation. We recognize and honor Shoal Lake 40 First Nation, the source of Winnipeg's life-sustaining drinking water, as well as the treaty territories that generate and provide the electricity that powers daily activity throughout the province and beyond.
Thank you, Trustee Walker. I'd like to welcome everyone participating in this hybrid meeting. Board meetings follow a formal structure where the work of the board is conducted in a public setting that gathers parents, students, staff, and other community members. As chair, it is my duty to preserve order and decorum at all times. All in-person and verified virtual attendees are reminded to observe the procedural bylaws, to engage in a respectful and orderly manner. We'd like to remind everyone there's a 15-minute public question period at the end of the meeting, and verified virtual participants and verified in-person participants can bring forward questions for clarification regarding items on today's agenda. If your questions are not related to tonight's agenda, please reach out to the division by emailing us. Finally, please be aware that we audio record board meetings for accuracy and that a link to the live stream of the meeting will be made available on the division's website. Unless approved, other photographs, personal recordings, audio, visual, or otherwise are not permitted. We move now to the affirmation of our vision and mission. Our vision is for all members of our community to excel as caring, confident, capable, and resilient lifelong learners, contribute to a democratic and sustainable world. Our mission is to provide a safe, inclusive, and engaging environment where personal and collective learning are valued and each one of us reaches our full potential. First item of business number 2 is the approval of the agenda and minutes. Approval of the agenda for the regular board meeting November 5th, 2024. Motion is that the November 5th agenda for the regular board meeting be approved. I need a mover and a seconder. Trustee Nordheim, Turner. All those in favor? The motion is carried. Ellen, what's on there? Is good?
And Trustee Simeona, yes. Yep, we're good.
And the approval of the minutes of the regular meeting from October 22nd, 2024. This matter has been posted. No one has requested any changes or edits. So the minutes from the October 22nd meeting will be accepted as move now to LRSD news. News from the Board of Trustees. We're to be provided by Trustee Palmquist today, but he had to step out. He's passed over that honor to our Vice Chair, Trustee Garia.
All right, so this is news to the board from Trustee Ryan Palmquist, and he'd like to talk to you about the Dakota Lancers Championship. Congratulations to the Dakota Lancers who defeated the Oak Park Raiders in the semifinal on Thursday, heading once again to a championship title at Princess Auto Stadium last week. Lancers V12 are now back-to-back league champions. It was an exciting game with DCI coming from a deficit to win 39-33, helped by a 40-yard touchdown. Congratulations to students, athletes, coaches, and supporters for an amazing season. Remembrance Day and poppy sales. Communities across Louis Riel Division are gearing up for Remembrance Day. Ceremonies are all next week. Numerous schools, especially the older grades, will see Army, Air, and Sea cadets don their uniforms and stand as honor guards, musicians, flag bearers, and other ceremonial roles to honor the sacrifices that have been made by the past and present generations in the defense of a free and democratic society. You'll also find many LRSD students in uniform at grocery stores and other busy destinations selling poppies on behalf of the Royal Canadian Legion. proceeds which go to support services for veterans and youth. Remember to bring along some change when out and about this week and thank our LRSD cadets for taking the time out of their lives to volunteer on this valuable mission. And finally, report cards. The gratitude and appreciation of this board goes out to all our LRSD educators who are busy with report card week, putting in this extra time and effort to finalize their comments and assessments for review by administrators and parents in the coming days and weeks. Good luck to all staff juggling those demands for their regular teaching duties with this long-time sensitive responsibility. We hope that all teachers will be able to take a moment to unwind and breathe after a hectic week. Thank you.
Thank you. Questions or comments? Pictures, and just to clarify, it was the Dakota junior varsity team that won the championship back-to-back, second year in a row.
Okay,
And the varsity team is going for the championship Thursday night at Princess Auto Stadium. Should be
perfect,
second or third year in a row, I can't recall. At least second, maybe third.
excellent,
There we
okay,
go.
thank
So
you.
thank you for that, and thank you, trustee Palmquist, who will be returning. 3.2 is news from the senior leadership team, and we have Assistant Superintendent Cormack will give us.
Thank you. You'll see in the images provided there that this past week, Louis Riel Arts and Technology Center proudly welcomed hundreds of high students as well as the Indigenous Youth Leadership Group to an engaging and immersive experience showcasing their wide range of educational programs. Throughout the visit, students had the opportunity to tour specialized program areas, receive hands-on experience at various trades, and explore the state-of-the-art facilities that LRA offers. Each day included a structured schedule allowing students to interact with experienced instructors, explore potential career paths, and get a firsthand look at the practical skills taught in fields such as automotive technology, culinary arts, baking, and aesthetics. Moving on to Lavallee School, they held a Scholastic Book Fair sponsored by Mido, and Scholastic Book Fairs provided the school with the first book fair they've had in many years. And each student was able to select 3 books to take home. It also meant that the fair donated 50 new books to the collection at the library for students to enjoy for years to come. A student was heard to say, "I think it's a great opportunity for kids to boost their imaginations." For his part, the student's book choice is centered around sports. He was most excited for some fiction about a football team. "I really love the sport of football. I find it so compelling," he said. What a great word choice from the 10-year-old. It was a great event for everyone that attended. I'll also just note that at Lavallee School, Manitoba Moose donated 70 practice jerseys and tickets for families of students for the hockey program to attend the October 27th game. And so the students had the opportunity to go off and see the Moose in action. And families enjoyed the night out together. At Marion School, they had a month-long learning event for Orange Shirt Day. This initiative was financially supported by the Orange Shirt Day grant that Marion School was awarded by the provincial government, titled Intersectionality Through an Indigenous Lens. Pictures, and this last week, students had fun learning about Diwali as well as taking part in Halloween-related curricular activities. The school is also super excited because after many years, they now have a grade 7 girls volleyball team that's hitting the court and learning a lot about good sportsmanship and commitment to one another. Thank you.
What? All good?
Yep.
Oh, thank you. And now, thank you very much. Any questions or comments on those activities? Thank you again. Before we go into the main body of our work, important that we take a moment of silence. We've lost a giant in our province and in our nation. The Honorable, sorry, I'm breaking up a little. I was quite Murray Sinclair. I knew him and met him several times and appeared before him. And he's a great man, and he's a great loss to our province and our country. So if we could have a moment of silence in honor of Honorable Murray Sinclair. Thank you, everyone. You notice our flags are all at half staffing, so we'll turn down on Saturday. Judge Sinclair. So that leads us then to board education. We held as a board a retreat on October 31st, Halloween. It wasn't too scary, but we had a wonderful opportunity as a board to meet and talk and go through education with each other. Thank members of the SLT who were also there, who guided us and gave us some very valuable information, for taking the time of their day to assist us. We thought that it would be a good idea in the public side of our meeting today to share some of the takeaways and some of the things that we talked about and felt and experienced during our retreat. So I can either open the floor or we can go around, whichever, unless someone wants to jump in. Trustee Nordheim?
I think the second half of the retreat where we were guided through a multi-year strategic plan by each of the assistant superintendent was just reaffirming, although it's only the beginning of November, that budget conversations are going to be front of mind because of the priorities in the multi-year strategic plan, how important they are, and how much financial support that will require in order to make sure that we achieve some of those goals for the kids in the division. So it just kind of reinforced the importance of the information and work that we have to do on the budget upcoming.
So Trustee Chappelle's hand up.
Yeah, just following up on that, just a couple of things to add that I think was important for me as well as a takeaway was being able to look at all the strategic priorities and recognizing some of the activities that have already taken place. Some of them, there was a category between what's been sustained, what's in progress, what's starting in relation to the everyday work that's being done in schools and in our communities in relation to those strategic goals. So I think that was really good to see that it's not just a document, but there's some things in there that are already being executed and some of them that are being sustained over this time.
Thank you very much, Trustee Walker. And then Trustee Belcher.
I really appreciate the time to learn a little bit more about what the school division is doing leading up to my joining the organization. I particularly liked learning about the trauma responsive practices under the belonging strategy. I've educated in trauma response, and it's been a really valuable part of my professional development as a teacher. So I was happy to see that's happening here. I also just gained a better understanding of how I can help move all of this forward as it's a really valuable day.
Mr. Culture?
I would say the day was very good. We appreciate the SLT spending time with us and sharing the information that they did. And I think one of the big takeaways was there's a lot of work that's being done that the community and public, even schools, are not necessarily aware of, because we do have 40 schools and many staff. And it's how do we get the message out of what we're doing so that way people can see the positive work that LRSD is doing and how we are committed to a strategic plan, and that it's in everything that we do, in every decision that we make, in every budget decision that we make. And Maureen stole my budget comment, but sorry, Irene. But budget is coming, and it's coming fast, and it's making sure that, you know, we're looking at what's the next things that we're willing to commit to in that multi-year strategic plan, making sure we're connecting that to action and budget. And I'm looking forward to, you know, the next steps that we talked about and seeing those things come to fruition as part of our work as trustees.
Chime in. Here.
It was a really wonderful opportunity to really delve into the strategic plan, having the SLT work with us side by side. And I think that everyone's comments about the budget and planning for the future and planning so we have some reserve money in there when we need it is important. And tying the goals to the budget is always really important. So those were some of my takeaways. It was a really good.
Okay. I'd just like to also add to that, I thank everyone for their time. It was very valuable. Just the very idea of getting together and spending a day together, discussing things, and this is always important to touch base. And, we're very busy people and we have busy agendas of our own, and it's very valuable to carve out some of that time to sit together and talk, and certainly focusing on the strategic goals is key, because that's at the touchstone of all that we do. But also, it has been the morning talking about wellness, staff wellness, and that's very critical. And there's some ongoing work there to make sure that our staff at all levels are, feel good and feel appreciated. It was nice to hear news on that. So thank you, everyone, trustees and senior leadership team, for spending the day together. So thank you very much. So we'll move on then to staffing. And we have personnel updates. I'll turn this over to Superintendent Michelet.
We are recommending Dave Charney, principal at École Provencher, be appointed principal at École Saint-Germain effective January 1st. The reason for the appointment is that a vacancy has been created as a result of your accepting our recommendation at our last meeting that the principal at École Saint-Germain, Cam Johnson, be appointed the principal of the new school taking shape to serve Sage Creek and Bonavista Vista communities, effective January 1st.
Thank you. And just for context, that January 1st is because of the new school opening.
That's right. That new school opening in September will require, we've recommended, would require a principal to bring together community, build a culture, and look after all of the important milestones of transition.
So we have a motion that Dave Charney be appointed principal at École Saint-Germain effective January 1st, 2025, and that Joy Perreault be appointed principal at École Mélanie Gabory effective January 1st, 2025. A mover and a seconder for that. Walker, trustee Nemeth. Questions or comments? Call the question. All those in favor? Everyone?
Yes.
Floating.
Yes.
So I said yes.
Congratulations to both of them. I'm sure they're in their new roles. We also have 5.2 personnel update termination. We just prior to public meeting, we held a hearing and a vote and a discussion about one of our employees. And we have a motion that board terminate employee number 9659 effective immediately. Mover and a seconder for this motion. Semignola, Steve Nemeth. Discuss this. Do we have any questions or comments? Call the motion. All those in favor? It's passed. You will be notified immediately. Then we have chair information to the board. Manitoba School Boards Association, the MSBA, Region 5 and 6, which is basically the metro region. Trustees attended a region meetings on November 2nd, and invite the trustees who attended to give any takeaways if they wish to do so. Wish to speak up, Trustee Walker?
Really enjoyed having the opportunity to hear what's going on in other schools. We're all trying to provide the best public education possible, and with other good introduction for a new trustee.
Yes. Trustee Turner, yes?
I have to echo trustee Walker. I really enjoyed the roundtable with and finding out how the other school divisions are handling different types of scenarios, different situations. It was really informative. It was kind of nice to know that LRSD was like at the top of the list for all of the things. So it was nice. It was good.
Thank you. I was busy running the thing, so we're lucky to have Trustee Emmett as the president, so both very much involved in MSBA business, of course. One of the things was motions, and we did get one of our motions through to the March meeting, and we missed out on the other one, but we're going to keep working on that. So that was again a valuable part of those.
Can I just ask a question?
Sure.
Is everybody aware, like the trustees especially that weren't there, are they aware of the resolution that was passed?
I sent an email,
Oh, okay.
so I'm hoping they all saw it.
I might have missed it, sorry.
Okay. And
I think that resolution actually came from the discussion that superintendent had with us last week in terms of the healthcare
Yes.
Division and stuff, so I think that was reflecting on some information that you had given us. That was appreciated.
yeah, I should say that in a nutshell, the motion was for petitioning the provincial government to pay or to work with us to pay costs that we now incur, which would normally be under shared healthcare specifically. So that's the motion. Basically, is, as a board and as a division, we care a lot about that particular issue, and we're hoping that the provincial government will work with us on that, not just our division, but with the whole province, all the divisions. We're going to have further discussion on that as well. So that covers it. Now have senior leadership team information to the board. Again, I'll turn it over to Superintendent Michalik, pass it to his members to discuss various capital projects.
And before I do that, I feel bad that I didn't share some details about Joy Perot's appointment as principal at École Marianne Gabouri, and thought I would just, for those joining us online and in the room, speak about Joy. Joy is presently vice principal at École Marianne Gabouri, and before that has come to us from Winnipeg, was the principal at École Lux School. And so we're happy to see Joy move into a principalship come January 1st as a result of Tyler Malloy, the principal at École Marianne Gabouri, having been appointed last meeting by the board to become principal at École George McDowell effective January because of the vacancy.
Very good, thanks for pointing that out.
So capital project updates, I'm going to just approach it a little differently this evening quickly. I'll ask Secretary Treasurer Nikki to open the links as I speak to them briefly. We've just sent an update today to the families of students in the English program living in Sage Creek. Now, not all these students are attending at Sage Creek School, but we worked hard to ensure communication go out to all the families, wherever they are, wherever their students happen to be in school, to prepare for the transition that we are working towards come September. And so you'll see more communication in this form come your way. You should have received this in your email as well as trustees. And if you haven't, let me know. And I'll correct that. We sent an update to families who have students in French immersion living in Sage Creek and Bonavista about this new school that will open its doors in September, giving them an update about construction, letting them know that the board has appointed a principal, Cam Johnson, and giving them a heads up that we plan to bring community together, families, students, staff, and trustees. Before the winter break, we plan to bring everyone together to build community. And as we reflected last meeting, one way we will build community and identity is by giving ourselves a name for this school. So lots to look forward to in the way of communication in the weeks and months ahead. It was wonderful to let the Island Lakes school community know that the 2 portables are ready for occupancy and will be occupied starting tomorrow. So 2 modular classrooms ready for occupancy, and I'm told the team is working really hard to have 2 modular classrooms moved from École Saint-Germain to Island Lakes Community School before the winter break. And so I'll keep providing updates. And of course, all this hard work has at its heart the classroom and making the classroom all that it can be. At the heart of all this work are our students, staff, making the spaces they occupy all they can be. And so an important tool that helps us be held to account is up and running on the website, and that is our class size tracker. The Secretary Treasurer has just opened that. It's live data. And if he just scrolls down and clicks the little arrows at the corner, at the bottom right corner, it opens up the Power BI page to fill the screen. So it's easier to navigate. And so folks can, anywhere in the world, can have a look and see how we're doing on any given day relative to class size. The board's commitment is to try to have classrooms serving students kindergarten through grade 3 as close to 20 students, and classrooms serving students grades 4 to 8 have a class size as close to 25 as possible. And so you can see where we are relative to those targets here, and you'll be able to monitor progress throughout the year as we welcome more students into our schools. And you can see it for the division as a whole, K to 8 here, and you can see it for a given school. So if the Secretary Treasurer clicks on Archwood on the right in the table, we can see all the we can see things shift on the left. So if he chooses Archwood, and he did, things change, and that would be true for all schools. So that is my update relative to capital projects.
Okay, thank you. Move to 7.2, it's the 2024-2025 K-12 framework for continuous improvement.
Oh, I think you forgot that.
Oh, sorry, pardon me.
Sorry, I do have 2 questions.
Yes, go ahead.
The first one is this letter that I went back to say family about the 15 Sage Creek going to English. Did it also go to the Sage Creek residents that are currently at other schools, like families that are
That's right.
today?
That's right. That's correct.
Yeah.
That's what I was trying to explain, that we have kids in schools like Shamrock and other schools that have children that reside in Sage Creek. We ensured that this communication goes out to all families. And on the French immersion side, we have children at Sage Creek, at Collège Béliveau, and at École Van Bellingham.
Okay, perfect. The second one, obviously, even for this first one that students will be moving in at Island Lakes, we did have some shrinking targets with some of the challenges getting them in there. I think you're saying the other 2 moving the targets before winter break. What are the risks that doesn't happen, just so that we're setting the right expectations in the community?
The weather is the factor, is the factor that would risk it not opening. And so what it means if these 2 modular classrooms don't open is that movement, so spaces that aren't classroom spaces wouldn't be available. So right now, music will continue to move from classroom to classroom. There won't be a dedicated space. And there's very limited dedicated space to student services needs. And so getting those 2 modular classrooms by December would mean we would create those spaces. And if we don't have it open by December because of the weather, it means that it'll have to wait till the spring.
Okay, I guess it kind of answered my other question, which was with these two modular classrooms being available starting tomorrow, what space frees up that?
The gym. So we have 2 classrooms in the gym right now, and now the gym is available. And I think the message speaks to that. The gym becomes available, those students who are and so phys ed doesn't have to be outside, that we have 2 classrooms.
Good? Thank you. So back to point 2.
Well, this is simply to advise the board that our report to the province has gone in on Friday. And it's tied to this K-12 framework for continuous improvement. And essentially our report is many reports pointing to the website where we make public a great deal of data that holds us to account and holds us to account relative to a multi-year strategic plan. So we point to that. And so beyond this reporting that is ongoing and updated daily in our data hub, that's always evolving. We do also have this annual report to the community that we talked about that we also point to. So we point to multiple sources of information and welcome a conversation about all the work we're doing.
Yes, sir.
Are
Trustee Nardo.
schools still required to submit a school improvement plan per year?
They are not.
Not to the division nor to the province?
Correct. But we, of course, to your question about schools sharing with their community, what we encourage our schools, of course, is to leverage the website, their school website, to share with the community they serve their multi-year strategic plans and sharing information, data relative to those goals they've set for themselves.
Questions? Move then to 7.3 is Dyslexia Canada. I know Assistant Superintendent Cadiz gave a presentation. Tell us about it today.
Thank you. Last Tuesday evening, I was part of a group of people that were presenting on behalf of Dyslexia Canada, Glendale Country Club, and there was about 200 people that attended, including Trustee Walker was there as well. And we were invited to present a little bit about the work that's going on in our school division in regards to universal screening, was the main theme of the presentation, in areas of early literacy, as well as some of the evidence-based instructional practices that we have implemented in the school division over the last 3 to 4 years. We are leaders in the province in this area. We were the first to really embark on a universal screening program using reliable and valid tools. And also to change our literacy instruction model based on the research that we know is widely accepted. As a recent article was just sent that we put out in the spotlight story here that you're seeing, we've linked a couple of different documents that I think are important to note that our practices are very closely aligned with recommendations from the Ontario Human Rights Commission. We did an extensive inquiry and produced a report called The Right to Read. And in there's 155, I believe, recommendations for schools, school districts, for ministries of education and faculties of education. And as a division, we have implemented pretty much everything that we can list or are in the process of doing so. So our practice is closely aligned with what's recommended by the OHRC, as well as by other organizations as well. Recently, the Canadian and the Manitoba Pediatric Societies have both released statements on this, advocating for early screening and early literacy, as well as evidence-based practices. And so I'm happy to say that what we are working on in Louis-Riel very closely aligns with all of those recommendations. There's also been a recent statement released by the Manitoba Association of School Psychologists, and it also is very similar. There's other human rights commissions across the country that have had similar inquiries that have come up with the same conclusions as Ontario, and some provincial governments have adopted changes to their curriculum to reflect that. Ontario is one of them, British Columbia is another, there's some on the East Coast as well. Alberta certainly has adopted these practices too. So we are a bit of a leader in this area and have been asked by many other jurisdictions across Canada to talk about our work. I've had the privilege of sharing one and have had an opportunity to support others on their journey as well. And so if you look a little further down on that article, we talk about some of the specific actions from our MYSP that are targeted by this initiative, including 2.1 and 2.3. And early screening in 2.3 doesn't speak specifically of literacy, but literacy is the focus of today's presentation. We also have similar things in numeracy. But looking at literacy in particular, since 2021, there's a list of different things adopted, including identifying which are the tools that we have in place, the processes we have for monitoring progress moving forward, talking about teacher training as well as a very robust program that's been developed in our school system, offered by our school classroom support team, and also ways for us to collect data centrally as well as on the school level and analyze it to really tell us a lot about our learners so that we really understand which practices we need to change the most in order to address the specific needs that are identified by those tools that we are using to collect data with. Along with that, we also have a systematic approach and our leaders that have been featured by Microsoft as long ago as I think 6 years ago. Clark, maybe you can correct me on that. Talking about how we're supporting students with learning disabilities through assistive technology. So while there's lots of instruction that goes along with this, ensuring that students always are able to access the curriculum and have the tools to do that with has been an ongoing endeavor by the division. And we are leaders in that area in the province for sure. And I also want to point out the one part there that talks about our partnership with the University of Toronto. We have a team of researchers that has worked very closely with us over the last 4 years and are continuing to do research on us and influencing the decisions that we make and guiding us along the way. They have been invaluable partners in this work with us and have developed tools in French immersion in particular, but have influenced a lot of the work that you see here in both sides of programming in both English and French. So it's a little bit of an update as to where we are at with literacy instruction and screening.
Thank you. Questions or comments on Trustee Walker?
A comment that I was very impressed with your presentation. Well worth sticking around till I think we were there till close to 10 o'clock. I really appreciated the information and I felt really proud to be part of a school division that's leading on.
Thank you. Great. Thank you, Assistant Superintendent. We move on then to the Indigenous Education team. We are lucky to have with us Catholic Director of School and Classroom Supports. I understand that there was a day of learning that took place on October 30th, 2024.
Yeah, on thank you. On October 29th and 30th, we had an Indigenous education team retreat at the Grey Grandfather Buffalo Lodge, which is located near Hillside Beach and between Grand Beach and Victoria Beach along 59 Highway there. It was a beautiful facility with amazing staff who were beyond hospitable and made us feel at home. Important to note this year is that we have 7 new team members, 4 new Indigenous language instructors and 3 Indigenous support teachers, and that's quite a few new folks. So we decided to spend time together in this way. Day 1 involved team sharing, time together, developing team norms, and ended with a sweat lodge ceremony and Elder Paul Guimont. On day 2, we were joined by Superintendent Michalik, as well as Dina Almeida and Sharmila Sukan from the School and Classroom Support instructional team. Dina and Sharmila were the facilitators as we began a path journey, and this started with vision and goal setting, establishing who we are as a team and what our goals are collectively. This led to meaningful conversations and opportunities for all team members to have their voices heard and contribute to defining us. This is an ongoing collaborative process that will continue over the next couple of months with the goal of completion of April 2025. The next steps in the process will be to create an image for our North Star, which will inform our positive and possibles for June 2026. The path is a visible artifact that we will continue to come back to as we move into the planning and strategy and monitoring and evaluation phases. On behalf of the team, I would really like to thank Dina and Sharmila for helping lead us through that process. And of course, our teams are working very closely together, so that felt like home as well. And just continue enjoying working with this team and establishing ourselves as a new team, and excited about this year and our future work.
Thank you for that. Questions or comments from trustee? Yes, trustee Nevin.
I guess I'm just thinking of the journey the division is on in terms of its multi-year strategic plan, and you're talking about a path that takes you to the future.
Mhm.
What is how are your discussions informed by the strategic plan? Like, what is and like, I'm trying to put those two pieces together, given that this is new work.
So the strategic actions that, you know, are part of the work most closely related to what the Indigenous education team does, obviously not just including those folks, but those pieces have been included. So when we're looking at June 2026, with the idea that, you know, what does this look like in June 2027 as well? And so the aspects of the multi-year strategic plan were embedded in our discussions and are part of our goals as we move forward.
Okay, interesting. I look forward to hearing more. Thanks.
Mhm.
Questions, comments? Thank you. Then we'll keep the floor there because we'll pass next again back to Cory Kapelik.
Thank you. So on October 22nd, we had our second meeting with the school classroom supports team. This includes the folks from Senior Leadership 21, the Indigenous team, the instructional support team, and all of the clinical teams. We started this day with some networking time, a smudge, a land acknowledgement, and a message from Kukum Hilda Kent, who's been joining us at these meetings as well. We then spent time building community with our new table groups as they were sort of reassigned to begin the new year. The real cool thing about it is having voices and representation from different bodies of the work, all talking about the same goal and sharing our perspective and how our work together contributes to that. Shelley Hopper took us through an exercise that was called Grounding Our NYSP Reflection in Diversity, Equity, with a Diversity, Equity, Inclusion and Anti-Racism Lens. At the first meeting, I think we did an activity that I think was similar to what I'm hearing happened at the trustee retreat. And this meeting, we then began to continue looking and having conversations around each strategic action. What have we done? Where are we now? And where do we want to be by June 2027? And where do we want to be by June 2025? The multi-year strategic plan is the shared work of this team. As such, we will continue to explore how we support this work together and create teams for each strategic action, as well as we pursue the goals of each strategic action, which is representative of diverse experience, roles, and experiences.
Questions or comments on that? Good. Thank you for coming and giving us that information. Oh, yes, by all means.
And I just asked, so just so I understand the process, are schools then reaching out to those support teams in regards to getting support for each goal? How are they connecting with schools?
So the team connects with schools. We have a request for service form. And so that's available to school administrators, and essentially someone would choose if they would like support from the Indigenous team, instructional support, clinical team. So it is categorized in that way. And then so schools will reach out to us, and then we vet those and we check in with the principal to see, making sure we're understanding it right, then we assign team members to that.
And on that request form, is it connected to one of the multi-year strategic goals, or is that part of the request because we need support in this area, or is
So
it just?
some of the requests are directed at a strategic action. Some of the requests are sort of local in nature with what's happening with the needs within the building. if that answered.
Yep, thank you.
Good, great, thank you. Now we move into the exciting world of policy. 8.1, Policy Review Committee is update ratification of amendments. Some proposed board motions. I'll turn this over to Assistant Superintendent Anderson.
Thank you. We are bringing 4 policies for consideration for ratification of amendment this evening. These policies are DN1, disposition of property print materials, DN2, disposition of property equipment and furniture, DN3, disposition of property technology equipment, and policy EDC, authorization of school division owned equipment, authorized use of division and school owned equipment. So feedback on these policies was requested in the September edition of the Learning Circle with limited response. These are the most engaging policies, I'm afraid to tell you. The policies were subsequently reviewed by the committee with feedback from the Director of Information Systems, the Secretary Treasurer, and the Manager of Accounting and Purchasing, along with the Divisional Teacher Librarian. The proposed changes, though relatively minor in nature, ensure that these policies remain in alignment with current procedures and policy norms.
Good, thank you. So we'll call the question. The following list of policies be amended. Policy DN1, disposition of property print materials. Policy DN2, disposition of property equipment and furniture. Policy DN3, disposition of property technology equipment. And policy EDC, authorization of school division owned equipment. Any questions or comments on any of these?
I do have a comment not on the changes. I see that furniture is being handled by the manager of accounting, and then vehicles, are being handled by the Secretary Treasurer. Is that a value decision or strictly a separation of work, or is there also a balance statement impact when you talk about obsolete and are no longer needed?
It's an operational decision. With furnishings being such low dollar value, the disposition of that is relatively basic and simple. Whereas when we dispose of vehicles, there could be different avenues of disposing of that.
So what we call it absolute, I guess is one question. Absolute are the ones that end up with a zero value that relates to our balance.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so we call the I guess you need to move her to seconder. Move seconder, Walker, Trustee Sakola. Call the question. All those in favor? Looks like it's unanimous. Thank you. It's passed. We have another set of actually just one policy. Sorry, DN4, specifically vehicles, I believe. This is for first reading. I'll pass this over again to Superintendent Anderson.
Thank you. So in reviewing policies DN 1, 2, and 3, we noticed that there was a gap in policy regarding the disposition of redundant divisional vehicles. And there aren't a lot of these. They're primarily school buses and some divisional service vehicles. So recognizing this gap, we're bringing this evening this draft policy for your consideration for first reading. It follows a format similar to those we just reviewed, but with a specific emphasis on vehicles. The policy will undergo further review before being brought back for second and third reading at subsequent board meetings.
So the motion is that policy DN4, disposition of property vehicles, reviewed by Policy Review Committee, receive first reading, be further reviewed in committee and brought back for second and third reading at a future date. Do you have a mover and a seconder for that? Turner, Semaniola. Again, this is pretty straightforward. Any questions or comments? We're going to be hearing more about this when we get feedback. So I'll call the question. All those in favor? And that has been carried. We have one more policy, and this is about the progressive discipline. We have heard this one previously, but this would be the second reading. And I'll pass it over for context for Assistant Superintendent Anderson.
Thank you. Policy GCQF, GDQD received first reading at the October 1st board meeting. Since that time, it has been further reviewed by a working group composed of staff services leadership, principals, and vice principals. The group considered feedback submitted by staff following a call in early October, a MailChimp having been sent to all teachers, and a spotlight story posted to staff. Proposed changes that you have before you today improve clarity and respond to feedback received. Of note, the proposed administrative protocol has been deleted on the recommendation of the working group. Details contained in the former will be included in an implementation handbook instead. The policy is scheduled to be reviewed by all principals and vice principals at the November 14th leadership team meeting and to return for third reading later this fall.
Thank you. So again, the motion is the policy GCQF, GDQD, progressive discipline reviewed by the Policy Review Committee, received second reading and be further reviewed in committee and brought back for third reading at a future date. If we move in a second for that. Turner, Trustee Nemeth. Is there any questions or comments on this? Call the question. All those in favor? Looks like that is carried as well. We'll just wait for the tabulation. Carried. That moves us to correspondence. Received some correspondence, sent some correspondence and to the board as well as to Manitoba School Boards Association. We have not heard anyone wish to pull anything out for comment or discussion. So all those correspondence will be accepted. The agenda or the meeting minutes, which brings us to the public question period. We've arrived at the public question period where verified virtual participants and verified in-person participants can bring forward questions for clarification regarding items on today's agenda. So we have a couple of folks here. You're good. Questions? No? Anyone online? Do you see any hands up?
No hands up.
No hands up? Looks like we're clear on that then. So thank you very much. With that, I will call this meeting adjourned. Thank you very much, everyone, for your time.